Hare Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami's prayers. Today we will go for explanation. Last week we were discussing how Sukadeva Goswami came into Bhagavatam picture, how he started reciting explanation of Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. That much we saw last week. And this week we are going to study about the prayers, how he is praying to the Lord before reciting about, before explaining about creation. So there are, we know that there are 10 subject matters of Bhagavatam. One is creation. So in the beginning of Bhagavatam, we can see that the Lord's pastimes are there, but not so elaborately described. Like, when we advance more and more, then lots of pastimes are described. Like, for example, 10th canto, full and full Krishna's pastime is there. But in the beginning of first, second, third cantos, fourth cantos, first they begin with creation and material arrangements, how the universe is arranged. All these things are described. So, Parikshit Maharaj is also very, very intelligent to ask that how the world is created. Unless we understand Krishna as supreme Lord, who is a creator, who is the maintainer, who is the destructor, we cannot understand his pastimes, direct pastimes. So we should understand how he is supreme personality of Godhead. So Parikshit Maharaj rightly asked the question that how the Lord created the universe. So before he explains about this great pastime of creation, he is praying to the Lord. This is the situation with Sukadeva Goswami. And so we all understand that in Bhagavatam, we should understand how Krishna is manifested in his universal form. Then we understand how he is Antaryami Paramatma. Then we go to Supreme Personality of Godhead, personal form, important form of the Lord. Now we will see how Sukadeva Goswami is wonderfully praying. So, in the first verse, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, for the creation of the material world, accepts three modes of nature. He is the complete whole residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable." It has all these prayers, Prabhupada gave wonderful puppets. So it's all big, big. So I can give you only the overview. You please study very nicely in house. So I will give you the important points. So in this verse, Sukadeva Goswami is praying how the Lord created the, how he is the creator, how he is the creator. So in this material world, he accepts forms. Um, he accepts the three Murti forms Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. The three modes. They are the lords of three modes, we all know: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So, how in the beginning, Krishna is the original person, and from him, expansions come out. Like Krishna, then from Krishna, Balaram, all are same. Like you lit a lamp, and from the main lamp you take another lamp, same everything. Like that, the original form is Krishna, and then from Krishna, Balaram came, and from Balaram, Sankarshan. From Sankarshan, we see Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna. Okay, so like that, the expansions are coming out, but they are all one and the same, and they have different leelas. So from Sankarshana, Mahavishnu comes. So Sankarshana is from Sankarshana, Mahavishnu comes. He is Karnodakasai Vishnu. Now he accepts the material energy. So here his material energy acts. When he creates the material world, there are two energies of the Lord. One is material energy, another is spiritual energy. So here When material world is concerned, the material energy he activates. So as Karno the Sai Vishnu, he breathes. When he breathes out, lots and lots of universes come out. So when Mahavishnu, he is lying in the Karnodaka ocean and he is breathing. So breathing out is creation, breathing in is destruction. So when he breathes out, lots of universes created. So in one universe, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu enters. So Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu enters into one universe. And within that universe, he creates unlimited living entity. So each and he enters as Shirodaka Sai Vishnu, that is as Paramatma, he enters into each and every living entity. That's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport, that as Karnodaka Sai Vishnu, he creates all multi number of universes, and each universes he enters as Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, and in that universe, each and every living entity, in each and every living entity, Lord enters as Sirodaka Sai Vishnu, that is Antaryami Paramatma. So, but his leelas are very inconceivable. To understand him is not possible. That's why the word comes here. Anupalakshaya Vartamane. He is inconceivable. He is not able, we cannot understand him. We cannot conceive him. So he is very difficult to conceive in the mundane sense. If you become a devotee, then we can understand. So that is the way now Sukadeva Goswami is teaching us. Now, next verse states about how he is delivering the pious and impious, how he is dealing with the uh, living entities, different varieties of living entities, or different varieties of transcendentalist, we can say. This is also a Prabhupada wrote a big purport, wonderful purport. So the verse states, I again offer my respectful obeisances unto the form of complete existence and transcendence, who is the liberator of the pious devotees from all distresses, and the destroyer of the further advances in atheistic temperament of the non-devotee demons. For the transcendentalists who are situated in the topmost spiritual perfection, he grants their specific destination. This also has a very deep meaning. So, first we will understand step by step. So, Krishna is delivering each and every uh, each and every transcendentalist according to their desires. So, here he is described as Akila. Akila means complete. Kila means inferior. In Bhagavad Gita, we have two terms called as para and apara. Para is superior energy, apara is inferior energy. Krishna uses both the energies because it's his energy. So now, if there are different kinds of human beings, right? If someone is very pious, he delivers them, he helps them, right? If someone good people, pious people means good people, he delivers them. But if someone is a demoniac, what he does, Krishna annihilates them, kills them, so that he will not continue his demonic activity further. By killing him, he is favoring him. How? So that he can reduce his sins. So the example of a king also can be given. The king should punish the miscreants. Why? It is beneficial for the miscreants. Otherwise, he will continue to do his sins and he has to suffer. The more he performs sinful activities, the more he has to suffer. So that's why we say throughout Bhagavatam, we see that the saintly kings are representative of the Lord, Supreme Lord. So Lord also acts in a way that the demons are not continuing their sins. So it is a mercy on them. If Lord kills, the other religious people, other religion, they say, why your God is killing, or he is a killer God, like that. They don't understand. Unless they understand this Atma part, they cannot understand. Lord kills only the body, only the mentality, not the soul cannot be killed, right? But to stop, he's stopping the jiva in further committing sins and further having a big baggage of Vikarma, right? So this we have to understand. Then here Prabhupada is saying elaborately about how he is handling the transcendentalist. In the transcendentalist, there are varieties, right? Varieties. So devotees are there. So here the word comes Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa stage is there in both devotee category and Mayavadi category. This is a bit difficult to understand. The Mayavadis also go to a very higher level of renunciation. The Paramahamsa is the sannyasi top level stage. So here Prabhupada is giving a different level of sannyasa orders. Kutichaka, Bahutaka, Parivrajaka and Paramahamsa. So a sannyasi also undergoes different levels. So when he becomes I know the Kutichaka and Bahutaka, I don't know how to explain. If anybody can explain, you can explain. But I know about only Parivrajaka and Paramahamsa. Parivrajaka is the one who travels around and preaches. Kutichaka and Bakutaka, maybe I guess, because it is not explained here. I guess that the sannyasis who are in stay in one place and do their own bhajan. And in that also gradation. Kutichaka may be a lower grade and Bahutaka is an higher level. Shraddha, you want to add?
Mataji, in one lecture, Prabhupada explains it that Kutichaka is a person who is newly taken sannyas, but his family will give him food. He will live outside a village.
Right.
Yes, Mataji, I
And
also wanted to say the
Bahudaka,
same.
And
yeah, Bahudaka, I don't remember, but that lecture is there. I can send it later.
No, the second category is they give up the complete association of the family. The family does not give, but he goes begging for alms.
Alms, yeah. No. The Kutichaka is like Vanaprastha. He is there in the house.
No, Mataji, he's not in house. He takes sannyas, but he lives a little outside the village, and the family can come and feed him. In the sense, they can come and give him food. They can meet. The second stage is he does not meet with the family. He gives up that. The family cannot come and feed him. He does not take food from the family. Something like that.
Correct. Parivrajaka, then he leaves everything and travels around and preaches. Paramahamsa is even higher level. So yes. Now in the Paramahamsa category is also in Mayavadi. That I don't understand how. But here we will focus only on devotee Paramahamsas. The devotee Paramahamsas are like Kunti Maharani is praying. Parama, what is that? I just forgot that verse. Tata Paramahamsanam Muninam Amalatmanam Vasudeva Kathanartham Pashyamahi Striya. See, only Paramahamsas can understand you, my dear Lord. What women I can understand you. So, Paramahamsa level, she is also talking. So, in this level, Krishna gives them the ultimate destination. That's what it is mentioned here. If you are a different transcendentalist, the destination is different. For Mayavadis or Brahmavadis, they merge in the Brahman. But for Paramahamsa devotees, they attain the Vaikunta, they attain the personal association of the Lord.
Mataji, who is Paramahamsa, Mataji? I understand now Kuticha Bahuda Parivrajaka means one who goes for preaching. Paramahamsa means, Mataji?
Is even more higher level, who is an unalloyed devotee, very top level devotee. It's advanced level, very advanced level.
Examples, Mataji?
Paramahamsa. Example, Sukadeva Goswami.
Sukadeva Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, like.
Srila Prabhupada, yeah. In a very higher level. Prabhupada is in a Parivrajaka. Prabhupada is Parivrajaka because we say, no, Parivrajaka Ashtotra Satastistic. He is Uttamadhikari, but he comes down while preaching, he comes down and preach. So he is Paramahamsa, but Paramahamsa, they don't preach. By their presence, people become devotees. By his holy presence itself makes others devotees, like that. So Prabhupada writes that who is Paramahamsa? Paramahamsa is unalloyed devotee. Understand? So now is next verse is 14. 14. Now he is saying, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto he who is associate of the members of Yadu dynasty, and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both material and spiritual worlds, yet he enjoys his own abode in spiritual sky. There is no equal to him because he is transcendent. His transcendental opulence is immeasurable. So again, this immeasurable word is coming, immeasurable. So again, Prabhupada is giving a very nice, wonderful purport that he is saying that how he reciprocates with devotees and Brahmavadis, devotees and impersonalist. So this for devotees, he gives his personal association, which is greater. If you are a devotee, then Krishna comes to you. Like he is mentioning, Prabhupada is mentioning the devotees like Sudama, Arjun, and gopis, cowherd damsels. There you have personal association of the Lord. But if some Brahmavadi is there, he just merges into the Brahman, and he is not enjoying, he is not getting the personal association of Lord. Personal form, this is the when we worship the personal form of the Lord, this is the benefit. We go to the spiritual world, and which is not, Prabhupada is describing about the spiritual world, which is not lit by sun or moon. There is no necessary of sun and moon in spiritual world. Spiritual world itself is self-effulgence. So there, the devotees gain the bliss of associating with the Lord. But the Brahmavadis, they don't get this bliss. So that's why Prabhupada is quoting Ishopanishad verse, Iranmayena patrena satyasya apitham mukam tatvan pusana pavranu satya dharmaya drishtaye. That means the devotee should penetrate through the Brahman, Brahmajyoti, and reaches the spiritual world. Brahmajyoti is there. It is in the it is outside material world, definitely. But remaining in Brahmajyoti, that means you are standing in, you are going to somebody's house, but you are near that house, but you are outside the door, and what you will enjoy with the association of your friend or relative or somebody. It's like that. So you reach to that level, but you still have no access to go inside. Similarly, so Brahmavatis, they are not given this happiness of associating with Krishna. That's what here it is mentioned. And verse 15 is a beautiful verse that let me offer my respectful obeisances unto all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrance, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once cleanse the effect of all sins of performer. Prabhupada is talking about the 9 process of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So in this, Prabhupada is saying any one process is enough to attain Krishna. Any one process, not necessarily all the 9, but all the processes are very powerful. The Kirtan, remembering the Lord, serving the Lord, all the processes are so nice. The devotional, the beauty of Bhakti Yoga, the beauty of Bhakti Yoga is that you have the access, personal association of the Lord. If you do Kirtan, for example, you do Kirtan, you chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord is there personally in the names, and you are associating with the Lord. This is here Prabhupada is mentioning the beauty of Bhakti Yoga, comparing with the other yoga system, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, all these things. What is the difference? Again and again, Prabhupada is giving us, which is easy, simple, but it will take us to the ultimate goal. Other yoga paths are difficult, very complicated, but still we will not get the ultimate goal. So that's what he is again and again telling. And here he says that very important thing, that when we do devotional service, one thing we have to be very careful is not to do any offenses, not to do any sins. Right? When we do devotional service, we should be very careful in avoiding the sins. So here, generally people, Prabhupada is quoting that the Christians, they go to the church, the whole week they commit sins, and on Sunday they go to the church and they confess, and okay, as Jesus said, you can even commit thousands of sins. I will purify you, I will rectify you, I will forgive you, like that. So knowing this, like, we know one name can do, only one name, Krishna, can destroy millions and trillions of lifetimes sinful activities. It has the power. So by understanding that, this devotee should not chant, or should not make this, a shortcut, that I'm chanting the holy name so that my sins will be washed off. This attitude should be removed. This is the seventh offense, and it is the most dangerous offense. Prabhupada is writing here, namno bhalat yasya hi papa buddhi. It is the greatest offense in the discharge of devotional service. If we think that my sins will be washed because I am chanting the holy name, that is very, very bad. So, therefore, it is essential, in order to keep oneself strictly on God against such pitfalls of sins, in order to give special stress to hearing process, the Sukadeva Goswami invokes all auspicious fortune in this matter. So we should be very, very careful when we perform bhakti yoga. We should not have this in our mind. Oh, bhakti, I am doing bhakti yoga so that all sins will be washed off. So here we have to be very careful, and then only the bhakti, we will be relieved of this offense. So this offense, Prabhupada is warning us that we should never do this offense. Then verse 16, let me offer my respectful obeisances again and again unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, the highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and future existence, and without difficulty progress towards spiritual existence. So again, this is a stress on bhakti yoga. So when we surrender to Krishna completely, then we will be slowly, in a gradual manner, our attachments, our future attachments will be removed from us, will be removed, and we will be given intelligence to progress further. That Krishna will give him from within. Tesham satata yuktan bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. That from within, Krishna gives us the intelligence to progress further. So this knowledge, Prabhupada is quoting Bhagavad Gita, that this knowledge is very, very important knowledge. Which knowledge? Surrendering to Krishna is the most important advice Krishna gave to Arjuna. See, in Bhagavad Gita, he gives a wide variety of instructions, directions. Karma Yoga is there, Jnana Yoga is there, Ashtanga Yoga is there, Karma Kanda is also there, fruitive activities. So many things he is teaching, but Sarva Guhyatamam, which is most confidential thing, is there in 18th chapter. 18th chapter, and he says, surrendering to me, and how you can put that into action. The most important verse of Bhagavad Gita is Sarvadharman Paridyaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tvam Sarva Papepyo Mokshashyami Machuchaha. That is the most important verse in Bhagavad Gita. This what it says, that you surrender unto me. Right? Krishna says, you surrender only to me. Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. If you go to Kanchipuram Varadaraja Perumal temple, in his hands it is written very beautifully in Tamil. Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Only unto me. That means, what is this Sarvadharman Paridyaja? Leave all other means, all other methods, all other religious activities. Follow only Bhakti Yoga. That's it. Means surrender to me means what? So the answer is in Manmana Bhav Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mam Ye Vaishesi Satyam Te Pratijane Priyosime. That is the answer. Always think about me, always pay obeisances unto me, always do bhajan unto me. This is the surrender. What is the symptom? How will you surrender? That is the answer here in Manmana Bhav Madbhakta. So Prabhupada is saying that if we are serious in performing our devotional service, then Krishna will take care of us completely. Krishna is the one who is taking care of us, all living entity, devotee or non-devotee, according to our desire. So Prabhupada is also quoting, Ye yatamam prapadyante tam stathaima bhajamyaham. The amount you surrender to me, that much I reciprocate to you. Okay, you don't want to come to me? Okay, for that also Krishna only is giving you indulgence. Prabhupada is writing in one purport that a living entity is living, okay, one person is leading his life, this lifetime. Maybe he is doing little bit here bhakti, there bhakti, or something, some ritualistic things. So his life is going like that. So it is finished. So he dies off. That life is ended. So after his death, the next life, again, it is Krishna who is making him to remember. Otherwise, where is the remembrance? See, in this way, in this matter, we have to be very, very clear that whatever we are having here is by the mercy of the Lord. Everything. So Krishna gives us the intelligence to remember him, to continue the bhakti also. So Jiva has forgotten, forgetfulness. Jiva has nothing, no power. The power is coming from Krishna. So Krishna reminds him. So he gives them the remembrance. He gives them the intelligence in the different lifetimes. So we need to understand that we surrender to him as much as possible within our capacity. We surrender totally, then Krishna will take care. We need not worry about what is our destination, what will happen. Prabhupada writes in another purport also, a devotee should not worry about our spiritual destination also. We simply have to surrender to him and perform the bhakti yoga. We have to perform devotional service without any inner motivation, to please him, simply to please Krishna. That is very, very important. So here Prabhupada is describing about the what happens to different devotees, different kinds of transcendentalists. So here he speaks about, if you want to get the ultimate perfection, that is Brahmagati. What you have to do, to get the Brahmagati, that means to go back home, back to Godhead, you have to continuously do the bhakti yoga system, 9 processes, writing, kirtanam, smaranam, ikshanam. That we have to, like in last verse, it is said that all the 9 processes without any personal motivation. See, when we come to the point of personal motivation, Prabhupada is writing that there are selfishness and extended selfishness. This is only connected with the body, nothing else to do with the Atma. When we come to the spiritual platform, all the selfishness will vanish. So slowly, we have to surpass the selfishness and come to this transcendental platform. Then only it is possible to get the Brahmagati. Otherwise, even this bhakti level or whatever sadhana level we are in, then it will end in selfishness. See, we should grow above the selfishness and the extended selfishness. What is this selfishness means? I take care of my body. I take care of myself. I, right? I. So some people, some girls and some devotees, they come to me for counseling. When we counsel them, I can find out, the husband and wife counseling means problems. I deeply listen to them, and then when I see that Being devotee also, we are only surrendered about I want this, I want that, I'm not happy. See, the married life, husband and wife joining together to please Krishna. So here another beautiful verse is coming. Samsiddhir Aritoshanam. So I am there only. Yeah. The Brahmagati is explained in 16th verse. In 17th verse, Prabhupada is talking about selfishness, extended selfishness. So we perform so many things. Atta, Pumbir, Dvija, Shreshta, Varnashrama, Vibhagashaha. Swa Anuttistasya, Dharmasya, Samsiddhir Aritoshanam. What is the conclusion? What is the conclusion of all advices? You may be in different ashrama, you may be in different varna, you may perform your duty in different ashrama and different varna, but what is the purpose of all these things? Samsiddhir Aritoshanam. So we are all in Grahastha ashram, we are all married, and we have this family life. In family life, why we are suffering? When we bring this selfishness, I want this, I want that, I want that comfort, I want this, everybody should love me, nobody is loving me. These are the words given by the sufferers. Those who have problem in their married life, they say like this, I am not given enough attention, I am not loved, I do so much work, they are not doing. So the sentences, if you analyze, this selfishness and extended selfishness will come. That's why they suffer. But both the husband and wife keep Krishna in their center of life and try to please him, then these things will not come. In anyone's life, in anyone's life, if you make your goal as Samsiddhir Aritoshanam, then we will have less problems. This is a practical solution. So one devotee came to me for counseling. So I spent 4 or 5 hours, imagine. So I listening to the problems. Then finally I gave a simple, it's correct solution. Then she said, see, you are experienced, you are from South Indian background. All these things are there in your family, in your culture. That's why you have the capacity to adjust and tolerate or counsel. Or maybe you have many women, they complain to me that you have a wonderful husband, that's easy for you to speak this word. They comment to me. I said, okay, easy for me because I am in a comfortable, my husband is very very good person. So many ladies complain to me that you have a wonderful husband, that's why you can sit and give counsel, or you can give lectures. Then I replied, especially to this new devotee, I replied, yes, but I do have hundreds of problems. I do have hundreds of problems. So it's not that if I would behave like you, maybe I would also be end my family life in problems. If I don't serve my husband properly, if I don't practice my Krishna consciousness properly, then my husband will also have fight with me. This is what the message I want to give. Yeah, one Mataji was scolding me on the phone. You say, what, you don't understand, you have a wonderful husband. That's why I am also a wonderful wife. I am also a wonderful devotee. So again, this point came, you are South Indian and everything is there with you. Then I said, you have become a devotee now. You have changed your costume from different costume to this. You are chanting 16 rounds. You have taken initiation. Then, so our mostly devotee or non-devotee, when we suffer, we have to identify this problem is not outside. Problem is within us. We are so selfish. That's why we cannot turn our attention towards Samsiddhir Aritoshanam. Please think about this word deeply, then the life's problem will be cleared off. Whenever we suffer, we have to go deep within and understand, because my aim is not to please Krishna. My aim is to please my senses. For me, this is very nice. I want this. I. When you take I out, then you will get peace of mind. Hey, come on, sleep. Shut up. Then when you develop more and more expectation means what? You should take care of me. You should listen to me. Then what will happen? It is demand. It is selfishness. When selfishness is there, then you cannot have peace. Definitely, you cannot have peace. You want comfort. You want a nice family members. You want this. You want that. You want I want. I want. I want. It is selfishness. You come out of it and say, I want to please Krishna. I want to please devotees. I want to serve devotees. When opportunity comes, I will go down. I will do my service. If this scenario comes, then this is solved. This problem is solved. It is practical. You please apply and see. Then then Prabhupada is saying, so all our duties, whatever, whoever we may be, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or women, or brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi, anyone in any category, or you are anyone, any human being. If your aim of life is not samsiddhir aritoshanam, then other things will not happen. So Prabhupada is saying quoting another beautiful verse of Bhagavad Gita. I love this verse. Yat karoshi, yat ashnashi, yat juhoshi, dadashi yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurusva mattarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, whatever you give as a gift, donation, charity, whatever austerity you perform, everything you should perform for me. Everything you should do it for my satisfaction, for my to please me. That should be your goal. What is the goal of human life? To please Krishna. That should be the goal. Then all the problems will be set right. All selfishness will vanish from our heart, and we will suffer no more. This is what all the Shastra says. When we work for Krishna, for example, the body parts, all the body parts. If all the body parts work for stomach, then everybody will get nourishments. If the ears think, if you think that the here is an individual body part, so ear wants energy, right? But if we think, okay, I'll take kheer and pour into my ears, will the ears get energy? No. Similarly, eye, similarly, nose, similarly, hand. If the hand thinks, why should I take the food and put it in the mouth? I will smash myself and enjoy. Will it enjoy? Will it get nourishment? No. The hand should cooperate, the mouth should cooperate, the eye should cooperate, and all the body parts should cooperate in putting the food into the stomach, so that the stomach digest and give the energy to all the body parts. Similarly, we living entities should work together, should be cooperative as a family member, as a community member in satisfying Krishna. When we do that, when we do in a cooperative manner, either it is in the family or in the community, when we are cooperatively doing our bhajan, cooperatively doing our bhakti to please Krishna, that should, then naturally we will be happy. Like if we pour water in the root of the plant, all the body parts of the plants are nourished. So if we satisfy Krishna, then we everybody will be satisfied. Then it becomes a Vaikunta. Then the place becomes a Vrindavana. So Prabhupada says that our motive should be Samshuddhir Haritosanam. Then in 18th verse, it's a beautiful verse again, that it says, any caste, Kirata Huna, Andhra Pulinda Pulkasa, Abira Sumbayavana Gasa Adasa. Prabhupada is giving a beautiful purport explaining which caste is hailing from which state or which part of the world. Kirata, Hoona, Andhra, Pulinda, Abira. These are all different caste people and they are all low caste, not higher caste, low caste. And Yavanas. So they are all in different parts of the world. Doesn't matter. You may be from anywhere, any caste, any birth, but still bhakti is such a thing that it has the purifying capacity. Anyone can take up. There is no restriction. We should not misunderstand bhakti yoga with deity worship. Some people they get offended. Oh, why we should not do the puja and deity worship? Deity worship has rules and regulations. Bhakti yoga, no rules and regulations. Anyone, any caste, any creed, anyone can take up. That is chanting of the holy name. Anyone can take up. Anyone can take up, and it is above rules and regulations. So Prabhupada is nicely writing that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted anyone. Best example is Haridas Thakur become, he was a Muslim and he became a Namacharya. He was chanting 3 lakhs name in a day. So he 192 rounds he was chanting. So he became a Namacharya, being born in a Muslim family, but still he could become a great devotee. So here the point again, Sukadeva Goswami says that the caste and creed or color or your birth, any birth you can take birth, but bhakti yoga is not limited for the family or caste you are born. Bhakti yoga is open to all. So any social order, any varna, any ashrama people should take up bhakti yoga. It has no restriction. The bhakti yoga has the power to purify anyone. You may be sinful, very sinful, but still you can take up devotional service. That's what it is said. Then it is verse 19. He is the super soul and the supreme lord of all self-realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures, and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma, Shiva, and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so revered with awe and veneration, may that supreme absolute be pleased with me. See, one point we have to understand is we have Rasa Bhakti, means Bhava Bhakti. But in the beginning stage, we have only awe and reverence. We should respect. Our bhakti should be with awe and reverence. Rasa will come later. Rasa means the loving, considering Krishna as my child, Krishna as my lover. This rasa is in the advanced state. So Sukadeva Goswami, being a very big Paramahamsa devotee, but still he prays in a very respectful manner. You see, awe and veneration. So all the he is the super soul and supreme lord of all self-realized souls. So whoever it may be, Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, they if they are without pretensions, see pretension, then they can understand Krishna. You may be anyone, you may be Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, but if you can understand Krishna if you don't have pretensions, that's what this verse is saying. Otherwise, if your attitude is towards Krishna to please him without any pretensions, then you can understand Krishna. Otherwise, it is not possible. So Prabhupada is writing here, the devotees are completely dependent on the orders of the Lord and are always ready to discharge their duty for the satisfaction of the Lord. Why? Prabhupada is again quoting. So why devotees are satisfied? He's quoting a beautiful verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ata Yeva Ashanta. Shanta. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ata Yeva Shanta. Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami Sakali Ashanta. Bhukti means what? Bhukti. Mukti is, Bhukti means I want so many things for my enjoyment. I want wealth. Bhukti means bhoga, to enjoy. I want opulence, good health, everything good. That is bhukti kami. Kami means desiring. One who desires bhukti. Mukti, I want to be relieved of the problems of this world. So their aim is not to do devotional service. Their aim is to relieve. Oh, this world is full of problems. So I want relief from this. That is mukti kami. And then siddhi kami. Siddhi kami is even more sophisticated way. How means they want to walk on water, they want to fly, they want to become smallest of the smallest, they want to become heaviest of the heaviest, they want to bring anything from anywhere. These are all siddhi, desires for siddhi, to control others. So all these things, they are always these kind of people who are behind these things. Bhukti, Mukti, and Siddhi Kamis, what happens to them? Because they want something and they become Ashanta, no Shanti. Ashanta means no peacefulness, no Shanti. But devotee is peaceful. He knows Krishna will take care of him. He doesn't have separate desire away from pleasing Krishna. So this one understanding will solve all our problems, sir. Krishna, you put me anywhere, anything. I want to please you. Make it very simple. But otherwise, I want mukti, I want bhukti, I want this. Elaborate. I want siddhi. All these people, if you want siddhi, one example I will. If somebody wants to have some mystic power, what they have to do? They have to undergo lots and lots of tapasya. And they have to recite mantras, this and that. In other class also, I was telling that one devotee wanted to master astrology, and so she has to chant some lakhs and lakhs of mantras. Why? What for? It's a big austerity. That means siddhi. You wanted some power. You want to have that power. Why? Prabhupada is very clear. We don't want siddhi, or we don't want bhukti or mukti. These things, if it is desired, it will be given. If it is destined, it will be given to you. Even if you don't do any endeavors. For example, if you want to fly, it's a mystic power. Want to fly is a mystic power. If you are a very pious individual, he will be transferred to the heavenly planets, and there flying is natural. For us, flying is natural? No. But if you are transferred to heavenly planets, the Apsaras, the Kinnaras, the Chanaras, the Gandharvas, they have the ability to fly. No need for some mystic power, no need to gain that power. If you are here in this earthly planet, but if you want to fly, then for that you have to pay heavy price. Means you have to do some tapasya, you have to do some chant some mantras and all. So that's why it is in Chaitanya Charitamrtam, it is said that if you desire such thing away from Krishna to please Krishna, then you will become Ashanta. You become Ashanta. No Shanti, no peacefulness. Because I want this. Again, selfishness. When we are selfish, then all these problems will come. When we become selfless, then everything is taken care. Simple formula. Simple formula. So Krishna will take care. If you are a devotee, then Krishna will give us. Simple. But we will attain greater things than this bhukti, mukti, siddhi. So for devotees, Krishna is there. Krishna gives himself to the devotees. What else the devotee want? Then when Krishna is there with you. So next verse. This is also beautiful verse. Verse 20. Shiryapati, Yagyapati, Prajapati. So the word comes pati, diyam pati, lokapatir, dharapati, patir gatis, chandaka, vrishni satvatam, prasidatam me bhagavan satampati. My Lord Sri Krishna, who is the worshipable Lord of all devotees, the protector and glory of all kings like Andaka and Rishni of the Yadu dynasty, the husband of all goddesses of fortune, the director of all sacrifices, and therefore the leader of all living entities, the controller of all intelligence, the proprietor of all planets, spiritual and material, and the supreme incarnation on the earth, the supreme all in all. Be merciful upon me. So now he is beautifully glorifying Lord. If you want to please Krishna, you have to glorify him. So this is a beautiful prayer. What do you mean by pati? There's so many times it is said pati. So normally pati means, we all understand pati, patni. Pati means husband, patni means wife. So in one way, pati means Lord, is the protector, is the controller, Lord. Lord. Pati means Lord, owner, protector. So different meanings. So Krishna is the protector of everyone, all the demigods, all the goddesses of fortune, all the kings, all the devotees, all the non-devotees also. It's not that he's pati of only devotees and not to non-devotees. He is the father of everyone. He is Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. He is the creator of everyone, and he is the protector of all the living entities. He is the protector of all the living entities. So here we see this Sukadeva Goswami is described as Gata Vyalikas. Gata Vyalikas means he is freed of all misconceptions. Devotees should not be clouded by misconceptions. We should be very clear. So Sukadeva Goswami is clear of God's position. He is very, very clear. He doesn't have any misconception. He is a chaste devotee again. Prabhupada says, no? Chaste devotees. What is mean by chaste devotee? Chastity is for ladies, right? To be with one husband and dedicated to him alone. That is called chastity. So when we explain the word for chaste devotees, that they completely depend on Krishna. They don't depend on anything material or anything other sources, other demigods, or other strengths, or other their own strengths or weakness. They don't depend on anything except Krishna. So Sukadeva Goswami is one such higher level devotee who understand that Krishna is everything. Krishna is doing everything. Krishna is protecting everyone. Krishna is the ultimate pati. He is the paramgati. He is our destination. Krishna is our destination. He is the protector. He is owner of everything. If you perform any sacrifice, he is Yagyapati. That sacrifice goes to him only. So Sukadeva Goswami is very, very nicely praying, putting nice words, describing the glories of the Lord. This is the way Prabhupada is writing. This is the way to please Krishna. This is the way to please Krishna. You may say that we are all not to the level of Sukadeva Goswami. What to do then? The simple technique is follow him, imitate him. Just copy this, copy paste, then we will get the same benefit. This is the secret of reciting prayers. Before also I told, I think, when we were describing about Kunti Maharani's prayers. For example, Kunti Maharani's she only recited those prayers and she got the favor of Krishna. But when we copy or when we study the prayer and recite, will we get the same benefit she gets? Definitely yes. This is the secret of devotional service, that we follow the Mahajans, we follow the great acharyas, we follow the pure devotees. Then Krishna, see, if you eat medicine, I eat medicine. The doctor is prescribing medicine. You eat, then you will get the result, right? The medicine will act. So the pure devotees' prayers are like medicine, and the same result we will get. But with the same attitude, we have to recite them. That's the point now. We have so many anarthas, we have so many doubts. So those offenses, doubts, anarthas, they are stopping us to attain the same destination these great devotees attained. So that's why we have to see, they have recited once, so we have to recite every day. We have to struggle hard. We have to fix our mind. We have to change our attitude. We have to remove all the misconceptions. We have to follow the Acharya exactly how he's showing us the path. Now, Prabhupada is our Acharya and he is giving us how we can proceed. So, Krishna is our Pati and he is our Gati. This is very nice. He is our Pati and he is our Gati also. So, he is the Lord is therefore the guide of all devotees. Like Sukadeva Goswami offered him due respects with love-laden feelings. So, Sukadeva Goswami is in his pure devotional way. He gave us the prayers, wonderful prayers, so that he was able to describe creation pastimes and describe the whole Bhagavatam. Because devotees like Sukadeva Goswami understand that it is only by the mercy of the Lord he can do things. Unless we have mercy of the Lord, it's not possible for us to speak or do anything in devotional life. We understand this from Arjuna's life. This thing I really I like this pastime of Arjuna very much. That I like it. You can. We all should understand this. I will recite this. I will tell this pastime. Arjuna won the battle because of Arjuna is the hero of Kurukshetra war. And after everything is done, Krishna also he set everything right in Astinapur and he went back to Dwaraka. Then Lord left. When Lord left, Arjuna went to see there is no news from Krishna, so he went to Dwarka because Yudhishthira Maharaja told Arjuna to go and see what happened. There is no news from Krishna. Something I'm seeing all bad omens. So better you go and see. So Arjuna went there and he could understand that Krishna left the planet. And he left the planet. So the the Dwaraka queens were there and he couldn't protect them from a simple hunter. A hunter came and he had a fight. So all the queens jump into a well and they leave the body. So Arjuna couldn't protect those queens. Simple hunter. He in the war of Kurukshetra war, he could defeat big Maharathas, great warriors. He could even see Karna and other Bhishma, Dronacharya, so many great warriors he could face with the strength of Krishna, not alone. So now he could understand that Krishna is not there in his absence, in his without his mercy. I am zero, I am nothing. So he realized, he could understand. Then he felt very sad, separation. Then he remembered all Bhagavad Gita and went back to Astinapur, of course. Then he told what happened to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then all the Pandavas, they leave. So the devotee understand, if I get something in my life, that is because of mercy of the Lord. If his mercy is not there, I will not perform anything. So as devotees, we should understand this point. So Sukadeva Goswami very well know that it's not through his intelligence he can speak. It is by the mercy of the Lord that he can speak Bhagavatam. So now verse 21. It is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna who gives liberation by thinking of his lotus feet at every second. Following in the footsteps of authorities, the devotees in trance can see the absolute truth. The learned mental speculators, however, think of him according to their whims. May the Lord be pleased with me. So again, Sukadeva Goswami himself defeats, says that Mayavada, Brahmavadis, that they cannot attain the destination of personal association of Krishna. Krishna gives you liberation, but liberation has different varieties. But if you think of Krishna's lotus feet every second, every minute, and following the footsteps of authorities, then you can know who is this absolute truth. Then you can understand the absolute truth. Otherwise, it is not possible. If you have mental speculation, if you have whims, the world is full of mental speculation about spiritual life, which we see every day. Every day, different godmen, different religious people, they speculate, they invent a new religion, new methods, new mantras, new everything. But here it is clearly said, Bhagavatam clearly says, bhakti means you have to follow the great acharyas. You have to follow the footsteps of authorities. If we follow the authorities, then this destination is given. Otherwise, you will be put into maybe one has to take lots of lifetime. We have to be here. We have to be here. It's very, very difficult. Then it becomes the Krishna will put us, okay, ignore us totally. Okay, do whatever you want to do. So to get liberation or to attain liberation here means we should be very careful in understanding liberation also. Prabhupada many times says back home, back to Godhead. And many times says that we should not desire for liberation. Devotees should know the difference. Some devotees ask me question, Mataji, what is this liberation? That means we should not aspire. The devotee's destination is service to Krishna, which is going back home, back to Godhead. That is not liberation. Liberation means we want to be happy without material miseries. So people, other than Bhakti Yoga, other yoga systems are like this. They want to escape from material world. And that is good. But in that, the most important point is to do devotional service to Krishna. Do devotional service to Krishna is very, very important. Whether we are relieved of material suffering or not, that doesn't matter. That is Krishna's wish. But we should desire always to do devotional service. Okay. So then the devotees want to perform devotional service as per great acharyas, that we should always remember. Then how we can attain this state, that at the time of death we should remember Krishna. So for that, the whole lifetime we dedicate in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So Kulasekara Alvar, Prabhupada is quoting Kulasekara Alvar's prayers that I cannot remember you at the time of death because my body will create problem. Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pangaja Pancharantram Adyevame Vishatu Manas Rajahamsa Prana Prayana Same Kapavada Pitta Gandho Varodana with a Smaranam Kutaste. My voice will be choked up with Kapha Vada and Pitta, and I will not be able to recite your holy name. But now I am all right. So let my mind is compared to swan. Swan always it twins in the lotus stem. It just circulate the lotus stem, the swan bird. So swan of my mind, let it embrace the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is the prayer. Now I am all right. So let me remember you. That's the prayer of Kulasekara Alvar. At least once you have to recite this mantra in your life, in your day. You make it that you memorize this verse. Prabhupada quotes this verse many times. So it's a beautiful verse. This verse we have to memorize all the devotees should memorize and pray to the Lord that I don't know whether I will be able to remember you at the time of death or not. That I don't know. So now itself. So in Tamil also there is a wonderful prayer. Tamil devotees can enjoy this. Appodhaikku ippodhe solli vaithen arangatharavane palliyane. So I don't know, because the devotee is describing that he is not a devotee. That's why he is saying that when Yamadutas come and grab me, there is no escape. When death comes, where is the escape? Nobody can escape. So at that time, I may not be able to tell you, because I surely is telling I will not be able to remember you. For that, now only I am telling. Now only I am praying. It's a bhava feeling. feeling for the Lord. So we devotees, definitely this is 100% suitable for normal persons like us, because surely we don't know what will happen, because every day in our life we see people are dying suddenly. So yesterday one devotee passed away. So today morning we went for the funeral here in Mayapur. He came, uh, he just came to Mayapur. He was living here in Mayapur, but family members, they didn't like to be in Mayapur, so he went to Bangalore. Just he came for some work, and within 15 minutes he attended Mangalarti, chanted his rounds, gave Bhagavatam, nice Bhagavatam class. And after Bhagavatam class, he has to go somewhere. So he was waiting for the taxi, but he got sudden heart attack and he went to hospital. They're nearby only, then left. So this is Antardeep, Mayapur. So uh, success. This is, we all attended today morning is final rites. So we see deaths. Another devotee who was is not initiated devotee, young, very young. This person is okay, 62 years. The other devotee maybe 35, 40 something. He has small child. He went in a car somewhere in Pune and he met with all the devotees were shocked because he posts lots of YouTube videos, cow grazing. We all very happily see his videos. So every day we see death, but when we see death, we feel sad. Oh, okay, one day for me also this will come. But later we forget. We don't prepare ourselves for that. But here, Prabhupada is warning us that every minute we should be careful, we should be preparing, we should be ready. Because any person, anywhere, any time can face death. So we don't know what will be the next life. We don't know how we will be. So this lifetime we should utilize, and we should focus, we should become very serious and pray and follow the great Acharya's footsteps. This lifetime we should not leave the chance. Okay, next lifetime I'll see. Afterwards I will see. We should become serious now. Anytime, for anybody, death may come. So at that time we should be able to at least present ourselves. Oh, I did something. Like in Ishopanishad, no? Om Kritosmara, Kritam Smara, Kritosmara, Kritam Smara. That one devotee teased us. Unless you do something, how will you go and tell Krishna, I have done Kritosmara, Kritam Smara? That is not possible, no? So, then verse. So, Prabhupada is beautifully saying that Sukadeva Goswami is pleasing the Lord. This is the way to know Krishna. You pray nicely. When you pray nicely, then Krishna reveals himself to you. This is the way we have to. Otherwise, understanding Krishna is not possible. It's not possible for us to understand Krishna. When we pray nicely, then Krishna will reveal himself. Cheating Krishna is easy. In the sense, you can easily please him. See, to please a bad person is very, very difficult. But Krishna is easily pleased. Easily pleased if you have a simple mind. You please him. He is so merciful. The wonderful quality of Lord is mercy. Right? So we heard in so many lectures how Krishna is merciful. A person who came to kill Krishna, that is Putana. Ahobakiyam Stanakala. Do you know this verse, Shraddha? Stanakala Kutam.
Oh, Stanakala Kutam.
Yeah. Kutam is poison, right? So this Putana, she applied poison on her breast and then came to kill Krishna. But the breast milk is given to the child by the mother. So Krishna thought she is mother. So he gave the destination of mother. So Krishna is so merciful. that in whatever attitude you go towards him, but still he gives you the best. So he is merciful. So it is very simple to please him. So simple to please him. So better we can follow the acharyas with a pure attitude than, You may ask how it happened with the Putana. It's a long discussion. We may discuss later. But here the point we have to understand is he is merciful. So some some should not ask. We may do so many sinful activity, and then like Putana, if we remain like Putana, then the acharyas give different explanation for this. Even to become a Putana, you need to have some good background. So that we will not go deep into that. We understand this, that Krishna is merciful. Then Sukadeva Goswami is praying, may the Lord who is in the beginning of creation amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and inspired him with full knowledge of creation and his own self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, be pleased with me. So now, because this knowledge of creation was given to Brahma by Krishna, Tene Brahma Hridaya Hadi Kavaye. So Brahma was bewildered in the beginning of creation. He is Brahma, but when he was born, he didn't know anything. What to do? Where I am? Who am I? Then he heard tapa means you do tapasya. Then Brahma did tapasya. Then Krishna gave him the knowledge of creation. Then he is a creator God, and then he received knowledge from the Lord. So the whole of purport Prabhupada is telling that whatever we are in different services, we are in different positions. All this intelligence is given by Krishna. Like he gave intelligence to Brahma to create. So here Lord is is called as Diyampati, supply source. He is the source of all everything. So he gives us the supply. He is the supplier. Okay. So next verse, I'll go quickly. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who is his Purusha incarnations, causing the living being to be subjected to 16 divisions of material modes, which are his generator, be pleased to decorate my statements. So now again is glorifying the Karnodaka Sai Vishnu, who is Karnodaka Sai Vishnu and Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, who are lying down within the universe, means Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, sorry. So as Purusha incarnation is putting the living entity into modes, different modes. There are the 3 modes are even further divided into 16 modes. So we are activated by the Lord. So we are put into different modes, and we act accordingly, and we suffer or enjoy accordingly. Then we are now controlled by the material energy in this material world. But when we gain this knowledge, when we work towards a spiritual destination, then we get, for that also we get support from the Lord, then we can escape. For coming also we need his mercy. For going also we need his mercy. We wanted to come here, so he gave mercy to go away from him. And if we decide to go back there, then we can end the miserable life here. Then finally, not finally, on 24th verse, he is saying his obeisances to his father. I offer my respectful, father is also guru, right? I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Vasudeva, who compiled the Vedic literatures, Vedic scriptures. The pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge dropping from the lotus mouth of the Lord. The devotees drink. It is nectar, right? It's nectar. The pastimes of the Lord are nectar. Anytime, how many times you hear, you will feel very happy. Other things, One devotee told in one class that you hear mundane music. If you hear mundane music one time, two time, third time, you get bored. That's why if you see in filmy world, every day new songs, every day new techniques. Otherwise, people won't like. One day, 2 day, then they throw out the music. After few times you hear, after few times you watch that movie or something, then you get bored. So material world is boredom. It needs variety. Otherwise, people cannot enjoy. But the spiritual songs. We sing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra many times, same mantra, same thing, but we are not bored. This is the nature. It's a sweetest. So we get nectar from hearing about Krishna. See, how many times we hear about Ramayana, still we relish. How many times we hear about Krishna Lila, we still become happy. So many devotees speak about same pastime many times. So some non-devotees only, they cannot relish because they are covered. They are covered. That's why they cannot relish the pastimes of the Lord. Otherwise, devotees, we hear same thing every time, but we are very happy and blissful. So finally, Sukadeva Goswami says, "My dear king, Brahma, the firstborn, on being questioned by Narada, exactly apprised him on the subject, as it was directly spoken by the Lord to his own son, who was impregnated with Vedic knowledge from his very birth." So now the knowledge is as it is. It came from Krishna to Brahma, from Brahma to Narad Muni, to Vyasadeva, from Vyasadeva to Sukadeva Goswami. So now he is going to explain as it is. But because he is Sukha means parrot. When the fruit is touched by parrot, it is more delicious. So now even the creation pastimes a little bit complicated to understand, but Sukadeva Goswami is explaining very nicely about this creation pastimes. Sukadeva Goswami um, himself is a pure devotee, so he has the capability to explain nicely to Parikshit Maharaj, and for that he is taking the permission, guidance. He wants to please Krishna, is begging Krishna to give the knowledge so that he can speak. That should be the attitude of devotees, that whatever we do, we should seek permission from the Lord. And after the job is done, then we have to thank him. That we should never forget, in every action of our life, we should bring Krishna. We should talk to him within our heart. We should ask his permission. 1 second, instant it takes. Just turn towards him and seek his blessing, seek his like how Sukadeva Goswami, he is by birth he is a Paramahamsa devotee, but still how he is taking permission. So in every action of our life, in every minute of our life, we should seek his blessing. We should please him so that we can perform well, and then the mercy will flow. Otherwise, mercy will not flow. When we get the ahankar, when we get the false ego, I am doing, I have the capacity, then the mercy will stop. Maybe we may talk from our memory or intelligence or something, but the real mercy will not flow and the effect will not be there. The true devotion will not be there. Maybe somebody may become famous. Mayavadis are also becoming famous because of their previous karma, of course, because of mercy of the Lord, but still the pure devotion part will be out. So if we want to become unalloyed devotee of the Lord, then we have to follow these two things. One, our actions should please him, and we should follow the previous acharyas. We should follow the pure devotees. Then success is there. Okay, now we are completing prayers of Sukadeva Goswami. If you have any comments or doubts, you are welcome. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, in this verse, 18th verse, Mataji, Kirata Hunandra, Pulindra.
Andhra.
Uh,
Pulindra.
Mataji, Pulindra is the Greek. You have already explained this, Mataji, but I wanted to know some doubts, Mataji, in this.
Yeah, please.
Pulindra is the Germans, Greek,
Mm.
right, Mataji?
Mm.
Alexander,
Greek, yeah.
they have said Pulindra is what is Pulkasha, Mataji? Pulkasha. They are saying another province, but even in the purport, it's Hare Krishna. It's not.
Kasha. Kasa, no. Kasa is the Kasadesha mentioned in Mahabharata.
Pulinda, they are saying as Greeks,
Greek.
the German people.
Yeah.
And after that, Pulkasha, there is no explanation, Mataji.
I don't know. Pulkasha is another province of Pulinda. It is another province. Pulkasha. Pulinda, Pulkasha. I don't know. It is written here as another province. So different. See, generally we have to understand that around the world there are low caste.
I'm just searching where is Europe, Geneva, like that in this.
No, all the Western, we can, in general, we can say all Western countries
are there in this, Mataji?
Mlechas and Yavanas. Yes, except India. Except India also it is said Andhra. India also some.
Andhra, I'm so surprised, Matra, because it's in South India, very in between Vedic culture.
Yeah, but still some maybe some low caste people. It's Bhagavatam says, no, we have to accept it.
Yeah, Mataji.
So maybe there. Maybe there. So the general understanding is you may be born anywhere in any low caste, that doesn't matter, but you take a bhakti.
Yes, Mataji.
So bhakti is not restricted to any kind of caste. That we have to understand.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, Mataji, but very interesting, Mataji, because they are mentioning all this Mongolia, Chinese, everything like Mataji. So, yeah, Mataji.
So yeah, Bhagavatam is science, right? Bhagavatam is, as we are seeing in fifth canto, we are seeing everything, right? Where, which planet, everything is decided. It's a great science. So
previously, I am wondering how the one ruler of the whole world, right, Mataji? Only one ruler.
yes, Priyavrata, Maharaja Parikshit, Yudhishthira Maharaj.
How they will do, Mataji? Because the lands are separated
management. See, this is beyond our beyond our intelligence, because we have never seen a good panchayat officer. We see all corruption, all mismatch, and all mismanagement. So we are not able to relate only how the king or management is the skill of the kings, right? Money management.
Yeah, not only management, Mataji. I'm thinking now mobile phone, everything is there. Previous ages, the lands are separated by sea. How they will really administer another country like that?
Other yugas they had mystic powers. Other yugas. Kali Yuga, we don't have any powers, but other yugas they had a quick travel. You can see this quick travel in Nala story. If you are in Mahabharata,
yeah, Mataji.
he could travel in one day from one one place to faraway place. Just in one day, he could see, recite some mantra. He could identify a fast running horse, and then he used that horse to reach where his wife was. So they had powers. Other yugas, they had powers. So they might have controlled through powers. The kings were not ordinary. If you ask any of the chief minister, this minister, that minister to go to the battlefield and fight or ride a horse, will they do? Control a tiger, lion?
They are not even able to walk, our chief ministers.
And you see Priyavrata, he was controlling the sun, and through he used the sun's wheel and separated the Bhumandala. That's what we read, right? That means
Yes, Mataji.
really powerful. They are representative of the Lord, Supreme Lord, and they are
Mm.
like Rajarishi. They are not normal citizens who have no power to walk, as you said, no power to walk. They are very powerful, really powerful. They are like God. They are representatives of God. That's why Ram Rajya, Ram Raj, they say no. They were
Yeah,
different.
Mataji.
They had different techniques, which we are not able to relate. You say mobile phone message is going nicely. What they would have,
Yeah.
maybe they had even more advanced techniques to reach.
Yes, Mataji. They had mantras, arrows, everything. Yes, Mataji. Mataji, just one more doubt, Mataji. Your one verse you discussed that we can actually serve ourselves or serve extended selfishness and personal selfishness, or serve the family, nation, like that.
That
But both are at the same level, and like both are at the same level, because we are not serving the supreme personality of Godhead like that. Mataji, for example, okay, I understand if you are serving yourself, you are not feeling so happy. But if you are serving others, like charity work, helping poor children, many things, they are having some satisfaction, right, Mataji? They are getting happiness.
Yeah, that is extended happiness. See how they are serving with some personal motive.
But not everybody wants to serve just for the sake of helping the children, like that, right, Mataji? Not for fame. Some people are like that, right, Mataji?
Really helping children also, to inner motive is to have that cell. Oh, I'm a great social worker. I'm Mother Teresa. I am
Mm.
this, I am that. So that name is there, no? Right?
So, yeah, Mataji. So, it is not
For them.
possible to serve anyone with love, Mataji, without, for example, I'm asking, there is one person who is not Krishna conscious. He won't be able to love anyone sincerely, Mataji. He won't be able to do it.
That love as inner motive. Unless you bring Krishna into your life, that love cannot be pure. It will be mixed with modes. If you don't put one, everything is zero only. Whatever zero, 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 we are seeing, in movies and in life history, they spend their life for freedom fighting. They are
Mm.
great. They protected the nation. Again, Prabhupada is writing extended selfishness. Through that, they want to enjoy. They want to get satisfaction from that action. It's
Mm.
self-satisfaction. They say, oh, for
Yeah, Mataji.
for me to become a great person, to become a very good social worker, is satisfying to me.
Suppose a mother loves her child, Mataji, that is also not complete, right?
It's not complete if you don't bring Krishna consciousness. If you don't teach
How is that, Mataji? How is that?
see, dog and cats are also loving their children. This is
Ah,
natural instinct.
mm,
They have the dogs and cats and any animal. Uh,
mm.
they also protect their children. You observe?
Yeah, Mataji.
Protect their eggs.
I'm asking why it's not bringing satisfaction, Mataji, and not able. Why it's not bringing satisfaction, Mataji?
Means it is
That there also we are loving. We are not loving this Krishna, but we are loving someone. But why it's not bringing us satisfaction, Mataji?
because
Or
you have some inner motive. Inner motive is that my child, I am loving it. So without Krishna consciousness, you do this loving affair, then it will this is material world. It is designed like that, and then the child will one day go away from you or do something which you don't want to do, want him to do. Then it will your life will be in problem. We are seeing so many parents how they are suffering. They are not so happy with their children. So with that expectation you loved, so this is then it becomes material love. Material love will end up in tragedy. If it is spiritual, if you connect yourself with Krishna, even your child is a demon, which we see in life of Anga, King Anga. We all remember, right? In fourth canto. He is a pure devotee, but he got a demon. Demon as a son. Very, very bad person. The Brahmanas had to curse him to death. But King Anga understood this is the arrangement of Lord. So he went, he left everything, his wife, his kingdom, his son. He tried to rectify him so much. But see, he had a true love. He tried to rectify him, but still he didn't rectify himself. He didn't, he's a very, very bad demonic person. Then Anga left, okay, it's our Hari Icha, okay. He went for meditation, that's all. So anything in this world, if it is not connected with Krishna, please, as devotees, we have to understand this. Then it's all waste.
Yes, Mataji.
It is a waste. You may be, oh, what is the use? Next life, you will die, that child will die, we will take birth again, or maybe next life, he may become your enemy, or you may become, the son may become the husband may become brother, different roles changes. That's why also
So can I understand, like, we are not we are just loving we don't know the person we are loving. Maybe we just love the body.
relationship. Yeah.
Really, yeah, like that, Mataji.
Yeah. Yes.
We know that that body is a soul, but next step we have to know that soul is part of Krishna. Then we can really connect.
Then the connection will be clear. So now we are practiced, our devotees, senior devotees are guiding that your mother, you are but servant of Radharani. Radharani is real mother. So you give many devotees, they speak theoretically, but we should take it inside so deeply that every day we should pray to Radharani and Sakhi. I am praying like that to say, I am your servant. This soul is your son, your property. So in that way we have to pray. Before coming to Mayapur, one devotee, senior devotee told, don't think that your mother, the child has 9 mothers, 8 gopis and Radharani. So the child has 9 mothers. So understand that you are servant. So in that is very satisfying. Because real mother is Radharani, real father is Krishna. We are servants. Then, it is nice. So we won't possess.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So
Mataji, what happened to devotee who passed away in Mayapur, Mataji? He's your god brother, Mataji, or who is devotee?
his name is Jagannath, Shyam Sundar Jagannath Das. Yesterday's Bhagavatam class you see, Mayapur.tv. He's giving a nice class, and he's a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. He's a Tamil devotee. He has 2 daughters. One daughter got married, the second is unmarried. Wife is also devotee. All of them are devotees, but the family is in Bangalore. He was living here in Mayapur. Very good preacher, and he did a lot of services, but he gave wonderful class that day. Wonderful class. And it's leaving body in Mayapur is not easy.
Yes, Mataji. He came for some time and he left the body at that time. Is really very good.
He was living here only. He was doing some service. His mother was attending our Bhagavatam Tamil classes, but she passed away 1 year before. She was there in the first canto, second canto. Afterwards, she went back.
Oh, in our Saturday Bhagavatam class? Oh, Mataji.
She was personally coming here. in 2017, 18. Afterwards, she went there. 19, she left her body. A very good devotee, initiated. She wanted
No pain, nothing, no, nothing, no. Suddenly he passed, Mataji.
suddenly 15 minutes. That's all. 15 minutes, everything over.
Very fortunate, Mataji.
Yeah, peaceful, very peaceful. He was not suffering nothing. And he went to, he described his pain, chest pain and all. Then he said, the doctors were checking. Then he said, I am tired. So he lie down, closed his eyes.
I saw the Bhagavatam class, Mataji. Some devotee tent. He was looking bit tired. I was thinking like that.
Yeah. Now we are seeing him like that. Morning Mangalarti I saw yesterday. Morning Mangalarti I saw him. And I thought later I will talk to him because he's known devotee. We all went and came back and took bath, did kirtan. He was very blissfully lying down, very blissful. Hmm.
Very nice, Mataji.
Okay, because I have to stop the recording. Afterwards, we will speak. Hare Krishna. Once again,
Thank you.
Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo.